a child.
Well, we have to talk about the YEA, and we know that there was a press conference that was convened, I believe, last week or before the beginning of last week by the CEO of the YEA, raising concerns about some level of malfeasance or payroll fraud, and as a result, some auditing that was undertaken, and subsequently making sure that the agency was able to rake in a lot more saving as far as its coffers, a lot more money. But following that, we've had the minority in Parliament raise some serious issues through a press conference, and they issued a statement. That's the Minority NDC Caucus in Parliament of witch hunting, etc., by the YEA and the public agency. But we want to speak to the Deputy in charge of operations, and is the Deputy Chief Executive, and Ibrahim Bashiru is in the studio. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And,
good morning.
Well, good morning too. What would be your first reaction, just in summary, to the press conference or the statement that has been issued by the Minority NDC Caucus in Parliament?
Well, first of all, I think I need to thank the minority. You cannot have an effective government if you don't have an effective minority. What they did, in my candid view, was within the remit of the law, and we need to congratulate them. Except to say that if you read the entire press statement issued by the minority, you will come to one conclusion. And that conclusion is that it was a panic reaction to our press conference, the rot that we uncovered. People felt that, look, we cannot allow Ghanaians to go through this. Let's go ahead and debunk it. But you see, if you read the statement carefully, the inconsistencies are just so mind-boggling.
Why?
And you cannot just imagine that minority in Parliament will put up such a statement. If you permit me, I can just pinpoint 3 of them.
Please go ahead.
And you'll be shocked. In that statement, the minority claims that for 5 months, we have not paid beneficiaries. That is absolutely untrue. The new CEO came into office in February. February, March, April, May. That's 4 months. Secondly, they indicated that the CEO actually authorized payment.
But is it true that within the 4 months, YEA personnel have not been paid?
Yes, within 4 months.
Okay, they've not been paid. So it's, it's rather 4 months, not 5 months.
Not 5 months, that's one. 2.
And that's what you're correcting. They've still not been paid. There's a serious concern for the NDC.
No, as we speak now, they have been paid.
Okay, 2.
2, they indicated that April, May, the CEO authorized payment. That also included ghost names. So I don't know, if you take April, May out, where will you get 4 months? The last payment the CEO did was January. He took over in February. But in February, the previous regime had finished the payroll for January. So what he did was to just okay it for payment to go through. Then in February, we detected that there were a lot of anomalies in our payroll. So the CEO decided that let's issue a statement, inform the general public, also inform the beneficiaries that we were going to suspend payments until we were able to address some of the concerns that we actually detected on our payroll. If you read the statement, the minority was very clear, very, very clear, that March and April 2016, the CEO proceeded to pay people with ghost names.
Yeah, exactly, they said that.
And then I'm surprised. 4 months we haven't paid. February, March, April, May. There hadn't been any payment. And yet they claim in their statement that March, April 2017, the CEO paid allowances with ghost names.
And that's surprising for you?
Unless we have different ways of arranging our months. Because February, March, April, May, 4 months. Now they are claiming that March and April, the CEO paid.
And that's a, yeah.
And I put it to you.
So
that February.
So you're saying that's an inconsistency.
Inconsistency. And then let's even proceed. If you read there 2, I think paragraph 2 or so, they said we were ignorant. And they described the management of YEA as a group of ignorant people. And that if we were very clear with the processes, there was no way anybody could be working without an appointment letter. They were very clear, very unambiguous, that you couldn't have been working without an appointment letter. Mr. Roland, I am telling you that in North Town, in Volta region, we have 52 people on coastal sanitation. Out of the 52, 42 of them have been paid previously for 2 months, and none of them can produce an appointment letter. The 52, 10 of them told us that they have not been paid. 42 have been paid without an appointment letter.
Meaning
when
what?
my team got there, they invited them during the validation exercise and requested for the appointment letters. What they said was that, well, we don't have appointment letters. And yet you come to the minority statement, they clearly indicated that for anybody to be paid, that person probably should have an appointment letter.
So
and that there was no way.
You're saying, just like it was re-echoed in the press conference by the chief executive of your agency, that people were on the payroll of the YEA and they have not been formally employed.
That is the point. But you see, it's not quite sad that in trying to describe us as a group of ignorant people, the minority claim that the process is such that before you are migrated onto the payroll, you should have been given an appointment letter. And yet I am telling you that we have 42 people just in North Tongue alone in coastal sanitation who have been receiving allowances and yet do not have an appointment letter.
Okay, let me ask you about that.
Then,
as you move forward, so those people, what happens to them? Those without the appointment letter, but they've been working for the IEA.
I will ask this. Ask a rhetorical question, Mr. Roland. I'm sure if you don't have an appointment letter, you will not be working in Joy News. Unless you can tell me that you can be working in Joy News here without an appointment letter.
It's not possible.
So
it means that they are illegal staff.
But how on earth can you be working without an appointment letter?
Well, that's
and yet the minority claims that before you start working, the system itself is such that you will not get the opportunity to work unless you have an appointment letter. Okay. And I don't know where they are getting that from.
And the NDC also raised concerns about you witch hunting even top officials and those who have been employed while the NDC was in office.
This one thing
almost like a witch hunt.
That's one thing I just don't want to hear.
My brother, it's ongoing.
My brother, YEA is a public institution. The agency is insulated completely from any political affiliation. It is not an extension of any political party, and it cannot be an extension of any political party. I am not bothered about whether you are NDC or MPP. The fact of the matter is that you are Ghanaian youth, and you have every single right to enjoy the benefits of YEA. But you see, the NDC, as we speak today, I can tell you in confidence, without any fear of contradiction, that 85% of our district directors and even officers at the regional level, I'm saying 85, and let me emphasize the word, 85% are NDC executives.
Are you an MPP person?
I'm coming. But I'm not bothered about that. They are Ghanaians. They went through the process. They were qualified to be there. Irrespective of which political party they belong to, for me, it's irrelevant. Is that not the case? That is why I find it extremely difficult when you read a statement issued by the minority claiming that we want to remove the people and replace them with MPP people. Please, let us not politicize YEA.
So
it is not an extension of any
political. Can I then conclude that your observations are just the summary response to the concerns that have been raised by the minority? But I've been doing some interaction and background check myself. So let me learn. And there's been an indication that while the chief executive was on air telling the media that an audit has been done, apparently the report is just a draft one. And more so, the audit countrywide has not been completed. Why do you come up prematurely then to make that announcement?
I've heard that argument.
No.
Oh. I've heard that argument.
I've spoken to your workers at your headquarters who said that the audit has not been completed.
No, I think I've heard that argument. And it appears people have not taken their time to read the statement that was issued out. You see, the Internal Audit Agency was commissioned by the Chief Executive and, for that matter, management to conduct an audit. They did it in 45 districts. Then we realized that 45 districts, in terms of sample size, was not enough. We proceeded to do what we call fiscal validation, popularly known as headcount, in all the 216 districts. My brother, if I tell you the revelations, it's mind-boggling.
Tell me some.
A classical example is the one I told you, where you have 42 people taking allowances without appointment letters. Secondly, it will interest you to note that during the validation exercise, it came to our notice that there were people who were on allowances for over 7 to 8 months before they were given even appointment letters.
Really?
Yes.
You mean they were drawing allowances
from YEA?
That's the Youth Employment Agency.
Yes.
While they didn't
In fact,
have a formal appointment.
Exactly when I was going through the country just to do some monitoring, I got to Gambaga. Somebody who was at the age of 60 years plus appeared there, and then we asked him, "Where's your appointment letter?" He produced an appointment letter dated April 2017 on our payroll as far back May 2016. He was on our payroll, and yet that elderly man was holding an appointment letter dated April 2017. And what is even more curious was the fact that his appointment letter had the signature of the former CEO.
Issued in 2017.
2017. In fact, by February.
So you're saying,
we had a new CEO.
You're saying some stationery shop is trying to fake some of your appointment letters.
That is why we are doing the investigation. And I find it a bit uncomfortable when I hear people say that all this exercise you are doing is an attempt to witch hunt people, to politicize.
Because in my interaction,
and I am completely
Mr. Bashiru, I interacted with some personnel from your head office here in Accra, and they said that it's becoming almost like an atmosphere of dark silence in which you're not supposed to say anything because you could be construed or misconstrued to be an element of the elsewhere government.
Oh, but that is incorrect. That is incorrect.
Really?
Let me give you a classical example. You know, we've done these massive transfers, and people are complaining. And now, if you read the minority statement, they sought to suggest that we were transferring NDC people. As I sit here, as Deputy CEO for Operations, and I'm sure my boss equally believes in, we have not asked for people, political party cards, or membership in doing the transfers.
Well, somebody say you don't need to ask for the party cards because it's not a legal tendering identification document. But at the end of the day, you can know people by their actions and the way they are and how they came into the agency.
I don't want to
make some conclusions.
No, but I don't want to run into a state of absurdity. That is an assumption. And I don't want to run into an assumption that based on somebody's own speech, his demeanor, then I will come to a conclusion that this person is NDC or MPP. That is an absurdity. In any case, why? I can be an MPP man and may not be satisfied with my own party. So if at the point that I'm not satisfied, I'm making comments about my own party, then you interpreted that to mean I am against the party. I don't think that we are even at YEA to engage in party politics.
You know the Public Services Commission?
Very well.
It has its regulations.
Very well.
Your employment or your appointment, is it not through the public service?
Yes. Right now, if you look at letters that we sign, the CEO, myself, and my counterpart, the deputy CEOs, we are still in acting capacities. Until we go through the Public Service Commission, we are still in acting capacities. So we want to have an arrangement with the PSC and then appear before them, and they will look at it whether or not we are qualified to
try to regularize things.
Try to regularize it.
Yeah, it's not they'll look at it. You just want to go and regularize because you already have a letter of appointment.
Oh, but the PSC.
We know how
when they conduct the interview and you don't prove to be capable, they can write to the president and say that look, we don't think that this person is qualified to occupy that position. And I'm sure in line with that, the president can even revoke your appointment.
Okay. Apparently, there seems to be a rift between the current internal auditor on contract and internal audit agency boss.
Internal auditor?
Well, they have a contracted internal auditor and then internal audit agency. So there seems to be some rift there.
No, I'm not clear about that. We have an internal auditor that we have employed at YE. And this internal audit agency.
How long?
Oh, I think about 2 or 3 months now. About 3 months now.
Okay.
He has been working with us. He has been very supportive of us. He's an internal auditor. And you know that the Internal Audit Agency Act mandates all public institutions to have a unit called the Internal Audit Unit. And that is precisely what we are doing. In fact, now we want to do what we call pre-monthly validation. Those days, they bring the list and then you proceed to pay. This time around, we want all our payments to go through the internal audit so that he will certify it before we send it to GIPS. And
really?
then GIPS will...
Thousands of people that you have, it has to go through...
We have to do it to save this country. We have to do it. Look, it was because of the activities of the internal auditor that at the initial stage, we actually recognized that 2,999 names were actually, I will call them non-existent beneficiaries. And that is where I laughed when I read the minority statement. You know, they indicated that there can never be a ghost name, according to the minority. If you say somebody is ghost, then you are ignorant. Because the system is like that. You go through a process, the each week number is generated, and you cannot be...
But is that not the case?
But you know something? Go and read their statement. They indicated that the previous administration, and they even gave figures, that the previous regime conducted monitoring exercise according to the minority. In that monitoring exercise, they detected that there were 2,374 ghost names. And that the ones that we are claiming, which is the 2,999 ghost names, were actually uncovered by the previous administration.
So your conclusion is what?
It is laughable. First of all, they are saying that there's nothing like ghost names. Secondly, they are saying that, oh, for the previous administration, 3 regions, Eastern, Ashanti, and Brown Hafo regions, they were able to actually discover that they were ghost names. And then, if they were ghost names, my brother, 2,999, just multiply that one by 350 Ghana cedis a month times 4 months.
I see.
You see how much you were going to save, even taking their own logic of the fact that the previous regime actually detected this in 3 regions. 3 regions. So if you multiply 350 by 2,999 by 4 months.
But that's not, well, that's logic, but that's not how it works, right?
Oh, that's how it works. It means that these people. Yes,
I know. You're trying to replicate the multiplication that.
You know, we have suspended payments for 4 months.
Yes.
And what it means is that these people would have been drawing allowances by their own logic, not even our logic, by the logic of the minority.
We have to conclude on our discussions, but there's a concern by the minority, or the identity minority in Parliament. But apparently, for all the instructions that your boss gives you and the way your boss is acting, the CEO, he may be acting contrary to what the regulations are as far as the board is also entering the territory of the board.
Oh,
without board approval.
I am aware that the board is the highest decision-making institute within the YEA. But if you go through our act, so far, I can state categorically, without any fear of contradiction, that there is no single decision that my CEO has taken that is not within the remit of the law.
Really?
That one, I am very clear in my mind. Transfers, they claim that you don't have the board and you are transferring people. In consultation with the sector ministry, you know the...
Because in the absence of the board, can the sector minister act?
Of course, the sector minister, in anything that we proceed to do, we do it in consultation with the sector minister. For now, we don't have a board. We draw our powers from the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. And if you even read our press conference, you see that at the introduction, we are talking about the Ministry of Information, Labor Relations, giving us the green light, giving us okayness to proceed with our press conference. My conclusion will be that, Mr. Roland, I think that the reaction from the minority was a panic one. It was just an attempt to politicize YEA. They have no point. They have contradicted themselves. They have not demonstrated good faith. And yesterday, when I was going through the press statement, I came to one conclusion, that whoever might have actually put up the statement did not actually do the minority any good job. And it's quite embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
Well, thank you very much.
And I'm sad.
Ibrahim Bashiru.
As much as possible, I commend them for exercising their responsibility as a very responsible minority, and they've done very well. Let's congratulate them for at least for coming out with a statement. But I'm sad that they didn't take their time.
By a poor statement.
Very poor one. Very poor one.
Ibrahim Bashiru is a deputy CEO of the YEA, that's the Youth Employment Agency. He's in charge of operations. And thanks very much, Ibrahim, for passing through our studios. And we wish you a good Ramadan. And then when the climax is, please make sure that I get to celebrate with you.
No problem.
All right. But next, we know that Habitat Fair is around the corner. But more importantly, we know that our partners will be on board. And so next we'll be discussing the next phase of the Habitat Fair with our next partner. Please do stay on.